Getting the job done for the Dogs, here's Larry Munson with the highlights of the Dogs' overtime win over the Wildcats.
A sellout crowd of over 10,500 saw Georgia pull off one of the great comebacks in its basketball history. But the K.S. Brown dunk had the Dogs off to a quick start. Minutes later, a Terrence Woodbury three-pointer made it 10-7 Bulldogs. Kentucky then went on a 12-2 run before Billy Humphrey hit for two and Woodbury buried his second tray, and that cut the Cat lead in 1917. For the remainder of the first half, however, Kentucky pulled away behind the shooting of Joe Crawford, who finished with a game-high 29 points. They built their lead to 17 before the Dogs cut it down to 43-30 at the half. When the second half began, an inspired bunch of Bulldogs showed their bite was as ferocious as their bark. The K.S. Brown, who led Georgia with 20, scored three straight baskets inside as Georgia scored the first 8 points after intermission to cut the Kentucky lead to 5.
And beat Brown for a slam dunk to K.S. with a two-handed finish, and it's 43-34.
The Wildcats would pull away once again, going on a 9-2 run, and suddenly their lead was back to 14. But that's when the Bulldog fireworks began. The K.S. Brown cut the lead to 11 with a slam.
TK, ball faking a one-handed stuff.
Sundiata Gaines, who finished with 19 points, hit two free throws and scored on a steal. And suddenly the Kentucky lead was down to 7. Then Terrence Woodbury, who had perhaps his finest game in the red and black, connected for 2 of his 16, and Georgia narrowed the margin to 53-48.
To left, left it up, kicks it to Woodbury, can't shoot three. Oh yeah, it's a long two-pointer, but it gets the crowd going a little bit more. Toes on the line for Terrence Woodbury. 50.
The Georgia crowd was now inspiring the Dogs, and the players responded. Brown scored inside to cut the deficit to 3. Yada Gaines hit from behind the arc to cut the Kentucky lead to 55-53. Then Gaines would tie the score and bring the house down with an alley-oop.
Underneath the outlet to Mercer. Lob to Gaines. Catch! Shoot! It's good! And a foul! An alley-oop! Caught in the air.
After trailing for so long, the Bulldogs once again took a lead when Brown connected to make it 57-55. A minute later, another Brown slam would build the Bulldog advantage to 4. Georgia looked to have the game in command when Gaines scored to give the Dogs a 63-58 lead late, but Kentucky rallied to tie the game, and they sent it into overtime, tied at 65. After falling behind by 2 in the extra session, it was all Georgia. Brown tied it inside, and then Woodbury hit another three-pointer to make it 70-67 UGA.
Penetrates, kick out to Woodbury, 3. Good! Terrence Woodbury with a huge 3 from the left side. Dogs, 70.
Yada Gaines would hit a big three-pointer to give the Dogs a 73-69 lead, but the game wasn't iced until Mike Mercer slammed home the game's final points. Georgia won at 78-69 in one of the most thrilling victories in Bulldog history.